So, this is a continued fallout from the disastrous way that Pam Bondi has handled the Epstein issue. There are numerous issues that have come up. One of the issues is, okay, she says now that there's no list, that there's no evidence. Correction. They put Ghislaine Maxwell in jail. Ghislaine Maxwell had a black book with all the clients' names on it. If there is no evidence, that means that Ghislaine Maxwell should be released from prison. This is just disastrous. You know, I like Trump and I like what he's doing, but I'm sorry, Pam Bondi has got to go. You know, when she said she was specifically asked about the Epstein client list on Fox News. She was not asked about the case files or anything else. John Roberts from Fox News specifically said, so the Epstein client list will be released tomorrow. And she said, it is on my desk waiting to be reviewed. So now she says there is no client list, that there's no evidence that he ever blackmailed anyone, and a bunch of other nonsense. She said, that's all bullshit. It's all BS. Every bit of it. And I'm sorry, you know, she needs to resign. You know, I supported her because I lived in Florida when she was AG, and she was tough on drug dealers and criminals. She had a good reputation for if she was coming after you, she had the goods. But now it's like she's in over her head, and instead of, you know, leveling and saying she needed help with whatever, she's doubling down on stupid. Because nobody believes that Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a client list. And she was also asked about Jeffrey Epstein being an intel asset, which is true. Alex Acosta, the prosecutor from the first Epstein case, said he was called by the DOJ and told, hands off Epstein. He's an intel asset. Okay. She now says that she has no knowledge of that that's something she'll have to check into. She should have checked into that and had the facts in front of her so that she could answer the question. Hey, Xavier. Hey, Vespid. Hey, Cherry. You know, I don't know what country y'all are from, but here in the US, we have a person called the Attorney General, which is the highest lawyer in the country. That's the best way to put it. Thank you, Xavier. And the current Attorney General is being called on to resign because, you know, there's this creep named Jeffrey Epstein who liked to do unmentionable things to underage girls, and he had a client list. His associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, is in jail for providing him underage girls. She had a black book with all of his clients' names in it and where they were from, and now The Attorney General is saying, well, there's no proof that he blackmailed anyone, that he did anything wrong. There's no evidence. He committed suicide, case closed. You had two people. One, the coroner that did the autopsy, said, I cannot say that it was suicide. It looks more like murder. Then you had Dr. Michael Baden, who's also a very well-known coroner, said it is impossible for him to have committed suicide. This is a murder. Now the DOJ is saying, no, we don't believe them. We think he committed suicide. There's no proof, blah, blah, blah. They said, no, sniper team went in and took him out. That's not how Mossad works. I can't believe these people are so dumb. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was a Mossad agent. Mossad, when they are done with you, they slip, like if you're in jail, they slip one of their agents in as an inmate to go take care of business, and then afterwards, he's transferred out and gone. Which is exactly what happened here. Hey, Crocodile Kyle. How are you today? I'm not going to be out here for too much longer. I'm sitting out by my koi pond, and it is fixing to be very, very hot today. They're talking about 100 degrees this afternoon. But I wanted to come on and talk to y'all about this and why. Hey, Roxy. Talk about why the calls are for Pam Bondi to resign. Because she lied to the American people for months. 4 months. She went on Fox News and said the Epstein list was on her desk waiting to be reviewed. No, Trump is not on the Epstein list because Trump is the one that turned in Epstein for the first Epstein file case. And also, think about this. If Trump was on the Epstein list, the Democrats would have known that and would have used that against him in 2024. Right, Cash. Yes, Daily Smiles. They all lie. But it's how big of a lie, if you know what I mean. You know? P.S. You are right. For 4 months, they said that the Epstein client list was on Pam Bondi's desk. Now she says there is no client list. This morning in court, the DOJ said, we are reviewing the information to see what can be released. So which is it? Is there no information, no evidence, or is there evidence that can be released? If there's evidence that can be released, it needs to be released. And we're not talking about the CSAB stuff, the child porn stuff. Nobody is asking for that. Pam Bondi saying that we are is insulting. Thank you, James. Pam Bondi saying that we are asking for the CSAB stuff is insulting because no one is asking for that. What they're asking for is who his clients were and why they are not being investigated. Hey, what part of Indiana? I grew up south of Chicago. Yeah, I think, now this is just my opinion. I haven't found proof to back this up, other than James O'Keefe, about 3 weeks ago, released some video. The video shows Pam Bondi walk from the other room at Epstein's place, wherever he was, and walk to Epstein and put his hand on his shoulder. Hey, Signum. Yeah, the 500 is a great race. Yeah, I grew up in Richton Park, Illinois, which is 45 miles south of Chicago. And I have cousins in the Dyer area. I used to go to the doctor in Crown Point. Hi, Signum. Yeah, that's another thing I'm going to talk about tomorrow. You guys tune in tomorrow. This Democrat representative from Texas called on ICE agents to be unalived. He literally posted it, and it's disgusting, and he should be being investigated. Do I like Pajeets? What are Pajeets? Laura. Welcome, Neo. Because the issue with the representative from Texas, he's a Democrat. He's running to take over a Republican seat. And he posted on X yesterday, he said, I want to see ICE agents shot. I want to see the bodies. Indians. Yeah, Indians are fine. I don't have a problem with Indians. Yeah, why are people not getting due process is exactly right. You know, there's a whole bunch of things going on that I don't yet have answers to, but I will keep you guys informed as to what's going on when and where. It is being handled horribly is right. And you know, the funny thing is, I've supported Pam Bondi because when I lived in Florida, she had a tremendous reputation for being an attorney general for the people. And now she's just a huge embarrassment. And I called on my live stream the other day for her to resign. Actually, what wasn't American PS is for Joe Biden to allow, the current rate is 50 million illegals to cross the border. That's not American. And now it's coming out that he may not have even signed half of his executive orders and stuff. It's just a big mess. And now Trump has to come in and clean it up. And considering the mess that was left, I think he's doing a good job. Do I like Pacos? What are Pacos? Yeah, I don't dislike anyone. I'm not one of those haters. I just see things, that don't make sense, and I point it out to y'all and tell you, you guys do your own investigation and come up with your own decision. I will tell you where I got my info from, and you go check it out and see if you agree. If he lied to me, yeah, I would admit it. I'm not saying that Trump is perfect. No one is perfect. Well, I can prove to you that he's not on the list because one of the prosecutors for the first Epstein trial, said that Donald Trump was the only person that called them and said, "What do you need to know about Epstein? I will tell you everything I know." If he was on the list, he would not do that. No one has seen the list. But I'm just telling you, I did streams on the Diddy trial. I'm in the camp that, he should have been found guilty. And my reasoning is because he was holding Cassie hostage. And I can prove that because they were having one of his freak offs, and she ran out the hall, out the door, down the hall to the elevator, and he followed her. And when he got there, he grabbed her by the hair and dragged her down the hall and told her, "You don't leave until I tell you you can leave." That's classic kidnapping. Right. Yes, you're right. Yeah, him and Epstein were friends. So, in a way, it's all connected. But I also believe that there are deep state artists that have been there for decades that they're trying to clean house on, and these rogue judges keep throwing up TROs, temporary restraining orders, saying, no, you can't do that. Well, the Supreme Court just said, yes, he can. That he's the head of the executive branch, and it was an 8-1 decision. So it's not like it was 6 conservatives against 3 liberals. It was 8-1. The only holdout was Ketanji Brown Jackson. That was the only holdout. And she had this radical idea that he was destroying the country and all this, that it would take decades and decades to repair. And even Sotomayor told her that, well, she basically said that her decision was unfounded. Yeah, if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. Right. And here's another thing that most people don't know. Maureen Comey, that did the Epstein trial, or was in charge of the Epstein case, also did the Diddy trial. She is Jim Comey's daughter. And the other prosecutor said she torpedoed that case. That she purposely torpedoed that case. And I thought, well, I don't know if she did or not. You know, that's something to look into, right? Yeah, Cruz. I like Cruz. I didn't used to like him. I thought that he was too much of a firebrand, but anymore, I listen to what he says, and it's like, well, yeah, he's making some sense. Yep, no problem. I'm going to get off of here. It's starting to get hot out here. It's supposed to be 100 degrees. So I'm going to get inside in the air. You guys take care, and I will see you out here tomorrow. Tomorrow will be earlier in the day, probably around 9 o'clock. All right? Well, 9 o'clock my time, which would be 11 o'clock Eastern time. Take care. Thanks for the discussion. Come back tomorrow. Bye for now.